Hey everybody, Dane here, startup founder, co-founder, exited for $55 million in 2015. Ever since then, I've been starting businesses and helping people do the same. Here's the deal. Today I want to talk about procrastination and kind of planning and getting stuff done. I've been meaning to start this YouTube channel for a long time. I've got another YouTube channel for developers looking to level up. That's where I started my career. But I always wanted to talk to you guys that really struggle with stuff like this. And so I'm just going to use this as an example to do it. Now, one thing that I've taken 55 courses, I've had 10 mentors, I paid $25,000 over the past 15 years on coaching and learning and education on these topics. So you can trust me when I say this, right? And just a cool thing, I was digging through my closet, cleaning out my storage area, and I found this. My friend Nick that died in the Marine Corps, I completely forgot that they sent me this, and I've been looking for it for 5 years now, and I finally found it. So very blessed to have found that. Thank you, Nick, and hope you're listening, buddy. Love you. Look, here's the deal. Procrastination at a very simple basis comes down to the inability to confront things. This is something that I've never heard talked about. I've never heard spoken about in any area or any course, but it's my kind of final conclusion after taking it all together is it's an inability to confront things. So like pick something that you're procrastinating on, like pick what it is, actually define it. Like I've always wanted to do that YouTube channel, or I've always wanted to do this video, or I've always wanted to start this book. We all have that, right? Nobody's perfect. I'm not going to be, in fact, I think this whole message that you hear online, which I love Jocko and I love all of those guys, but the message you hear online of like, man up, do it, push yourself till you die, like that, I've worked with a lot of clients of mine where those messages are detrimental to their brain. So they hear that, and for some people it helps them, and for some people it hurts them. I've literally worked with somebody who the Jocko episodes and the way he's talking was literally destroying him, making him feel so much less than. And I know that's not the intent. That's not Jocko's intent, nor would it be anybody's. But that's the application. That's what happens sometimes. So we're all in this together. Like we all struggle. We all have challenges. I'm here on this farm we bought. And I think the biggest challenge for a lot of people is this procrastination piece. So let's say it is a startup, or it is a company, or some aspect of a company, building an audience, writing a book, getting your ideas out there, starting to create something, writing that code so that you can launch that SaaS app, whatever it is. A lot of the times it comes from an inability to confront. So literally, like, this is kind of difficult to talk about because, again, I've never heard anybody talk about this, so I don't have the right kind of verbiage for this. But let me kind of work it out as we go. What I mean when I say the inability to confront is like literally the tools and materials that you need to be able to do that thing, you have to be able to confront them. So like this camera right here, like I have another YouTube channel. I wanted to start this separate one for a long time, but it's been kind of like procrastinating on it, haven't done it right. And one thing I noticed is like the confronting of the camera is becoming more difficult. So what if we sit out on the porch? I was already sitting out on the porch. I just went on a walk. Why don't we bring the camera out here and just record something? So this is like confronting it, if that makes sense. So now, because I've confronted it a little bit, this is going to be a shitty video, right? It's going to be a low quality video. It's not going to be the best. The sound's not going to be great, etc. But because I've done this confrontation, it makes all the confrontation in the future 1-2% easier. And that's sort of the style or method. This is why, if you listen to Start Here FM, I teach people to do tutorials to learn to code. It's because they have to be able to confront the tutorial, the code itself. If they can't confront the code, then they'll never be a developer. And it's very difficult for somebody to just confront the code of their own free will. It's much easier to confront the code when you follow along in a tutorial, if that makes sense. That applies to everything though. So let's say it's a business or a startup. Well, we have to figure out some way to confront it. And a lot of the times we over-intellectualize business and we over-intellectualize company building and all this type of stuff. Peter Drucker is the best person to study for this. He simplifies everything down so much. Business is just one thing: creating a customer. Creating a customer. That's it. So if you can do that, you succeed. right? There's a lot of other stuff, managing your finances, managing cash flow, hiring, firing, building team, building culture, leadership, process management. I've seen a lot of that stuff kill companies. In fact, I've seen process or lack thereof, too much or too little, kill more companies than tech, kill more companies than leadership, kill more companies than culture. But I would say tied with that is culture and leadership and stuff. Anyway, so you can work those out later. But if you don't start, you're not going to have a company to work those out with, right? So when it comes down to starting, I want you to try to identify what it is that you're going to do to create a customer. That's it. Just start there. Am I going to do how am I going to get my customer? Well, first you have to identify what is it that you're going to do. What is it that you're going to do to help them? And I don't care if you'd like to build a Uber or a Lyft or a tech startup. All of those startups, they started by doing things that don't scale. And Paul Graham has a great blog about this, do things that don't scale. It's classically taught. So when you have this initial mindset of I'm just going to create a customer, that's actually a great way to think, oh, okay, I'm going to do something that doesn't scale. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to take a first step, right? That's a great way to start. So we have to identify what is the thing that we want to help somebody do. Okay. Is it build a SaaS app to help somebody grow their Amazon account? Is it, build a SaaS app to help musicians tour the country better? Like optimize their tour dates so that the path of least resistance, right? The traveling salesman problem, like the path of least resistance around the country is the simplest, that optimizes gas expenses. It optimizes fuel usage. It optimizes, it prioritizes cities or towns where you have a higher engagement rate on your Spotify account. So like these are all examples from my personal life, right? These are all things I've helped clients build. Maybe you want to help people get started as a developer, but you specifically want to help veterans, and you specifically want to help them by teaching them a hackathon or doing a hackathon with them. Again, these are all examples of my clients in the past in my coaching. So in all of those cases, the very first thing we did was just create a customer. So how can we go about putting on an alpha or a beta version of that and then testing it in front of a customer? So the hackathon. What's the minimal viable hackathon that we can do so that we can test it? And by the way, guys, when I say MVP or minimum viable, I don't want you to think in terms of lean startup. That could be beta. In the alpha, I want you to think, what's the simplest thing that I can confront? So like for a hackathon, it's like two dudes that you already know, two friends that want to be developers on Zoom and code with them. That's it. Confront that. When you confront that, then you can take a step and confront something else and confront something else, and you can move forward confronting things in your life. And when you're going to want to work out, like when you want to work out or you want to do the dishes or you want to take the trash out, do it right away. Do it right away. Confront it right away. And I promise you, when you get better at confronting all these things in your life, it's going to be much easier to confront other things. And a lot of you listening to this are already these types of people. You're already doing this. And for that, that's great. I'm kind of talking to people that are struggling right now. It's because you're not confronting things. So again, let's identify what it is that you want to do. And you can leave a comment below if you're trying to figure that out. Like I'm happy to answer comments and just put questions, whatever. But try to figure it is what you want to help people with. And then let's figure out step by step how we can get that customer. It might be your friends and family. It might be your own network. And again, we're not going to worry about, 10 years from now, how is this business going to get to 100 million? That doesn't come without this. We don't get there if we don't do this. So ignore that front sight focus, like they say in the military. So we're focused right on this 3-foot world, our 3-foot world, like we're literally focused on this next step. If we can do this next step, then we can succeed. Okay? Comment below with any questions you have. Like, I was thinking about this. What do you think about this? How would you approach? If you literally have a question like, I was thinking about helping people with X. How would you get in front of or find a customer for X? Put that in the comments. Happy to help. I'd love to talk to you about it. The last thing I will mention, this is super important. One thing that really fucks people up, and David Allen talks about this. David Allen, who wrote the great book GTD, Getting Things Done, he talks about how in like 100 years from now, we'll have classes in psychology in elementary school on like open loops, and he thinks like when we have open loops it can cause mental illness and it can cause depression, anxiety. And I've studied like 4 or 5 different fields that converge on that answer. That's true. I really truly believe in 150 years, 50 years, 60 years, hopefully next year, we'll be taught in school at an elementary level, do not keep open loops in your brain. And just to be like very clinical about it, anything you start, finish it. If you take and by the way, I'm not perfect about this. Nobody's perfect, but I'm trying to tell you, I promise you, the more you do this, the better you'll feel. Okay, this kind of goes with the confront. That's why I'm mentioning it. But don't leave things undone. So complete cycles. Start something, change it, stop it. Start, change, like complete cycles. Simple shit. Like if you have a hoodie on and you go to take it off, put it back on the hanger right then. Don't put the hoodie on the ground. And I'm super guilty of this. I do this all the time. But don't put the hoodie on the ground. Put it on the hanger, put it back up. These little tiny micro steps are completing things. And the amount of undones, if you have a list that you've had for like 10 years of shit you've been meaning to do, that's a list of mental illness. That is a list that will crush you. It will kill you. That is the items on the list aren't the issue. The issue is the list. The issue is the list. You have a list of shit that you've wanted to do, started in your head, put it on a list. If you didn't start it, you wouldn't put it on the list. You put it on a list, now you haven't finished it. This is a tremendous problem in society right now. Now, a lot of people preach brain dumping, like it's better to brain dump and have it all on your list. That's fair. But again, the best case scenario is start it, finish it, start it, finish it. And like, it could be simple, guys. If you want to write a book, just do 200 words. Like in your head, you think, today I'm going to do 200 words towards my goal of writing a book. Okay, start it, finish it, done. Trust me, if you think in those micro goals, like 4 feet world, your 3 feet world, 4 feet world, try to identify what the next step is and take that next step, well, you will be very successful if you do that. That's all I did to build my career. Worked at Google, presidential innovation fellow at the White House. That's all I did every step. Started many businesses, 6 figures, 7 figures, freelancer, coach, built a course, top selling program, top viewed podcast. Like every step it was, what's the next goal? What's the next goal? And make it achievable and try to finish it. But there was many years where I fucked up. And even to this day, there's many days that I fuck up where I don't do this correctly. I do take my hoodie off and throw it down instead of doing what I should. And this is why I'm recording this, because it's a reminder for me as well. Like, hey, dude, you got to do this. You got to fucking do the things that you say you're going to do. That's it. And if you do that, I promise you'll be successful. All right, guys. See you on the next one.